Hello, Mrs. Eshu. My name is Edward Katz.
Hello, Mrs. Eshu. My name is Claudia Katz.
Mrs. Eshu, for the last 12 years, we made dozens of attempts to meet with you and discuss circumstances involving disastrous crime against the Katz family committed by the intelligence of the United States.
Sadly, Mrs. Eshu, for all this time, every single attempt of our intent has been declined, and instead of help, we were harassed by the staff of your office. Following this introduction, we're presenting to your knowledge video documentary that explains 27 years of our misery. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Of Bay Area hospitals and disturbing information we have for you.
Target 4 investigation tonight into America's test on her own citizens, government's guinea pig.
Yeah, Target 4 reporter Greg Lyon is here with our investigation tonight. Greg. Repeat, Pam, we now know the classified research involves everything from atomic radiation.
Hello, Mrs. Eshu. My name is Edward Katz. I'm one of your constituents.
I'm Claudia Katz.
Mrs. Eshu, this video session originated on October 24th, 2006 at 493 West Charleston Road in Palo Alto, California. And this is a response on a rude letter, as we understand has been written on your behalf by Chief of Staff Mr. Jason Machler.
Mrs. Eshu, as it obviously stands out, based on our telephone conversation with Mr. Machler that occurred on the beginning of September 2006, by the by, this telephone conversation has been video recorded. Mr. Machler supposed to discuss with you circumstances of severe abuse of the Katz family, former refugees from USSR. The experiment involved use of entire family as human guinea pigs in one of appalling medical experiments illegally conducted by the elite Nazi Stanford scientists under the contract of CIA.
Previously, in signed by your letter, you mentioned that while making an inquiry with the Department of Health and Human Services, which was absolutely wrong approach, your staff in Palo Alto supposed to assist us to get in touch with the ENT and mental health experts. As an outcome of what you wrote to us, instead of assistance, all we got only harassments and conspiracy. Despite that, we did contact numbers of mental health specialists and hear what they say. First of all, prior to make any inquiry with the psychiatrist, the mental health specialist requested confirmed response from the ENT doctors that would determine the fact that are clear without any implants. To avoid any acts of conspiracy, due to simplicity of the action, the evaluation is supposed to be videotaped, so even you, Mrs. Eshu, could see in real time reality of this human tragedy, the reality of new type of electronic slavery.
As a result of being threatened, not ENT nor psychiatrists are willing to participate in the evaluation. Following our conversation with Mr. Machler, he assured us that back in '96, you, Mrs. Eshu, wrote second explanatory letter in regard of your previous one. That second letter was never arrived, so we asked Mr. Machler to send the copy of it, as well as respond on our conversation should be written by you, Mrs. Eshu, personally.
Mr. Machler assured us that it would be no problem to satisfy our request, and it will take just a few days to respond. Indeed, at the end of September, we got bizarre letter written by Mr. Machler himself, not by you, Mrs. Ashe. This was very offensive. Such an action raised our suspiciousness. Mrs. Ashe, are you aware what is going on? The letter written by your chief of staff contained a list of children's psychiatrists in the area where we reside. But what is the really shocking, promised second letter as well as list of ENT specialists, which is very important, were missing. Here is the text of Mr. Machler's letter.
September 25th, 2006. Dear Mr. Katz, I've enclosed a copy of letter Representative Ashe sent you in '96 urging you to seek medical assistance and informing you that she had referred your case to the Department of Health and Human Services for their review. Staff informed you that the Department of Health and Human Services also recommended that you seek medical assistance.
First of all, Mrs. Ashe, Mr. Machler is lying and will never get any reply from your staff, nor from the Department of Health and Human Services in regards of any mental assistance. Please take this serious note for consideration. We are communicating not on the flea market, rather US Congress. After all, realistically, Mrs. Ashe, it's not upon your request dated by the April 9, 1996, rather as a result of our persistence. Finally, we were enabled to get in touch with Mr. Donald White, who directed our case to the Office of Human Research Protection. Here's the clip for review.